Hello, campers, and welcome back to the first episode of So What's Next podcast. I'm your one and only host, Ariana, and today we're going to get into the subject of One Direction and Harry Styles. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and okay, I have my notes over here, so I'm going to keep on looking back and forth, but just know that I'm appreciative of you. But, alright, One Direction. I feel like it all kind of started off after What Makes You Beautiful came out. I don't know if you guys watched, what's it called? Teen Top 10? Where it was like the top 10 music videos of like the week or month. I think it was the week. But I remember watching it, and like What Makes You Beautiful was pretty popular around that time. It was on the radios nonstop. And I just got into it. I don't really know how like my fanatic or my fan start, like I don't know how it started, honestly. But I just remember going into first grade with a One Direction roller backpack and having the best time of my life. It wasn't until, I don't think it was till second grade where I got to see them in concert at the Rose Bowl, which, let me just talk about that, because that was insane. Like, looking back at it, 5 Seconds of Summer opened up for them. Like, that is insane. Like, an insane lineup at the time. And then I also saw them at San Diego. Me, my mom, my little sister, who was also a fan of them, and my older sister, we went to San Diego. I want to say we went to Legoland as well, and like the zoo. I don't even know. I just remember One Direction. We saw One Direction, Pop opened up for them. And I just remember being the only person that knew, I got this feeling for a summer day when you were gone. That song, I only knew because of Teen Top guys. That song I only knew because of Teen Top 10. Like, honestly, that's the only reason why I knew this song. And I don't remember like listening to the radio a lot growing up. I just remember having a lot of CDs, and believe it or not, but I still have a lot of CDs to this day. And for some reason growing up, I never had Take Me Home by One Direction. And so that's another story. Let me just tell you that later. So yeah, One Direction, Rose Bowl, 5 Seconds of Summer, San Diego show with, I think, Pop. I'm trying to remember what the stadium was called, because it was a stadium. And also, these two were not back to back. Like, these two were like probably 2 years apart, because I saw the Midnight Memory. I almost said Midnights by Liam Payne. That is crazy. Midnight Memories. Midnight Memories tour with 5 Seconds of Summer. And then the stadium one at San Diego was just the four of them. And so it was like, I was still a fan even when Zayn left. I don't know, but I just remember after them releasing History, the music video, watching it with my mom and my sister. My mom was crying, and I was like, maybe, gosh, how old was I? I want to say like around 7, 8, or 9. Maybe even younger. I don't really remember all that much. But like not understanding the fact why my mom was crying. And I guess it never really hit me until like, I don't know, when they stopped releasing songs, I guess. And I don't know, I guess I just got out of it. Like, regardless, I had a One Direction themed birthday party. And obviously my favorite was Harry since day one. So just going out of this phase from One Direction when I was young, I don't remember like getting out of One Direction. Like, I remember Sign of the Times, obviously. I remember Slow Hands, obviously. But like nothing from Louis. Zayn, yes, because Zayn did have a solo career after One Direction, obviously. But Liam, no. And so like growing out of that, it all led back to me. Hold on, I'm trying to see where my transition was here. Like, it all led back to like music in general, because afterwards I learned One Direction broke up, and I think it was the Jonas Brothers who broke up. I'm like, hold on, are they not brothers? Like, hello? So I don't know. Just like music in general, music bands, I don't after One Direction, I guess it was like really changed for me, because then I started looking at like, I don't know, my music taste was all over the place because it came back to like, I guess One Direction started coming back to me after like maybe like 8th grade, because I was in school online during 2020 for 8th grade to freshman year, and so I think it was starting to come back to me during 8th grade, like towards the end, which maybe like May, and that's because I started listening to Harry like out of nowhere, and I think it was after like the fact that Fine Line came out, and it was Watermelon Sugar, obviously, that got me back to him. But like the only other songs I knew from HS1 was Sign of the Times, and so I was like, wait, why is Watermelon Sugar so good, guys? Like, honestly. And then also like I was just like, this is so good, but also because I had a fat crush on Harry Styles, and I still did, even if I didn't like think about him, like Harry Styles, like, ooh, I don't know, I just didn't have like a good like music taste. I never stuck with one artist after One Direction. I guess that's where I'm leading to. And now that I'm saying it, that's very true, because I don't think, because obviously it was young Justin Bieber, kindergarten. 1st grade it started being One Direction, all the way to what, 4th grade? 5th grade what was I listening to? I was on Musical.ly 24/7. Like, what was I really listening to? Like, what was my favorite band, favorite artist? I don't even remember. And so I guess it just changed my perspective of what music was, and like the background of music. And so I don't know, but it wasn't, hold on, let me see if I'm going on the right path. All right, I am. Okay, so it wasn't until 2020, that's where I'm leading to, until I started listening to Harry, like I said, but I stumbled across another song. I want to say, well, maybe Cherry off of Fine Line. And then that's when I kind of like, oh, I should listen to this album. I bet this album's really good. And I remember listening to my iPad, because my iPad has Spotify, but it's like a different Spotify account. And it has, like, I don't have premium on it, so I'm listening to all the ads. And I remember, like, sitting at my vanity, which it was my old vanity, because I didn't have this one that I do now. And I remember sitting in the room just listening to a song back to back to back. And it was, you guys are gonna hate me, I'm gonna mess up this lineup for Fine Line, I don't know it. It was Adore You, it was, oh my gosh, it was Adore You, like Watermelon Sugar, like back to back, Treat People with Kindness, Fine Line. Like, I just remember my favorite out of all the songs, I don't really, I'm like stuttering, guys, like this is really bad. And just like out of all those songs, one that really stuck with me was Falling for some reason. And keep in mind, I was in 8th grade, online school. Like, that is so strange of me to like listen to Falling. Like, I was like in my depressed era. No, I wasn't. Like, I was just online talking to no one, like listening to music. And so I guess leading back into One Direction, leading back into Harry, that was like kind of my starting point to like my musicians and like who I listen to and what I listen to now. So yeah, it wasn't until like freshman year, no, maybe over the summer when I was going to freshman, like maybe June, I was like, oh my god, I want to see Harry Styles in concert. Like, they're selling tickets and it's like pit for like $300, and I'm like, no, I'm not educated enough to know this. So I started listening to Harry. And I listened to so much Harry that I was on YouTube one day and I stumbled across edits of One Direction. And I was like, let me click on this. Guess where that led me? That led me back into my One Direction era. Like, I was thriving. And the fact that I learned so much stuff that I didn't learn back when I was in elementary school about One Direction is insane to me. Because now I see videos of them Falling, I see Larry Stylinson, like all of this I learned freshman year. Like, I don't know, all of this stuff about One Direction was so entertaining about me. Like, something about it was just so entertaining. And I think the fact that I didn't know all this stuff when I was in elementary school, it just really entertained me and put me back into like a One Direction loophole, and I was just like non-stop listening to One Direction. that also led me back to Take Me Home, because I never had Take Me Home CD. And so I just learned like more One Direction songs, and it was just like, this is like the reason why I loved One Direction. Like, you don't see like one bad thing about them. If it's bad things, it's all rumors. Like, I don't know, the rumor that Louis' baby wasn't real. Like, it was just like nonsense. Like, it was like so entertaining, and like the fact that I was in quarantine doing nothing, that's what I fed on. Like, that's what I did. I watched One Direction edits. It wasn't until like November, I want to say November 15th, which is wild because I saw Harry for his last time November 15th of last year, 2022. And it was supposed to be his 15th consecutive night, but then he got sick, so he had to reschedule it. But it was November 15th of 2021 when my mom surprised me and my sister with Harry Styles pit tickets. And when I tell you, I was in so much shock, I don't even remember what I did. I think I blacked out, honestly. I don't really remember how my sister got into Harry. Probably because of me, not gonna lie. My mom did too. My mom's a big Harry fan, so it was like non-stop listening to Harry, and she got into him, so it was just like whatever. But yeah, so that was 2 days before I got to see Harry in Pitt. And keep in mind, I was originally gonna buy tickets, but I backed out because it was like expensive, and I didn't have a job at the time, so I was like, what am I gonna spend my money on? Like, it's not gonna be open. And supposedly, and then comes the day, everything's like slightly reopened, and I got to see Harry in Pitt. But let me tell you the story time of this, because this is the most insane like concert that I've probably ever been to, and I will always remember it, even though I feel like I blacked out the whole time, but it was insane. Okay, so night 1 of Harry Styles was 3 consecutive nights back to back, and I had a few friends who went to that, like night 2 and night 3, but I don't think any of them went Pitt. So this was a really big thing for me. It was November 17th, 2021 at the Kia Forum, which, let me just talk to you about the Kia Forum for a bit. I want to talk about like tips and stuff, because as you know, I'm a concert fanatic, and us girlies need to stick together, because when I say the Kia Forum is probably my favorite arena. Not even arena, but like it's my favorite like place to see a concert or like event. Any seat in the Kia Forum is the best seat ever. And I wish that you guys, if you ever want to go to a concert and it's at the Kia Forum, please go. I would like to share, I will do a separate episode of concert tips and everything about that, but my ideal seats are either side stage or anything that is near side stage is always the best. The Forum, however, I would say their pit is not ideal of what a pit should be, just because they are not on it like how other arenas are. So there's that. But I will say their merch booths are pretty ideal because they sell them before a show, and you can get them also inside. Everyone in there is pretty nice. Then obviously they have like the patio that's open before the doors open, and just something about being in the Kia Forum, walking around, and you have your merch in your one hand, and you're heading to go get food in the other, whether you're bringing out your wallet, finally have your food. I always get pizza. I always have to get pizza for them because that's the only good thing that I get there. I don't know if you guys get the bougie chicken tenders or like the hot dogs. Do not get the hot dogs. That's my ideal thing. Do not get hot dogs there. I had some bad stories here. I've heard some bad stories about the hot dogs, so do not get the hot dogs. But I get pizza and a drink. I start heading to my seat, and it's just so heartwarming being in that little arena. I don't know if it's just because I was there for so many nights for Harry that I like got used to it, and I felt like the heartwarmingness of other people. It was just so much fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to talk about for Kia Forum. That's my favorite arena, guys. Like, you don't understand me. I've only been for Pitt at the Forum for Harry, so that's one thing as well. Never went like for any seats or anything, but I would imagine it's as equal as it is for Pitt for like standing and stuff. You just get seats instead. Here's my story time of night one. That was not even Harry's house. Night one of Fine Line. What was it called? Love on Tour 2021. Okay, so I researched a bunch of things, like not even before I had tickets, but just about like tickets and stuff. I learned that there was 2 sections of Pit called Cherry and Watermelon Pit, and that was the most like strangest thing to me. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes right now. Okay, so yeah, my mom had originally bought, I think it was 1 cherry ticket and 2 watermelon. And so she was kind of like afraid if there's going to be like a barrier between us, because she got a ticket and me and my sister, but like obviously me and my sister are going to stick together either way. But it worked out pretty well then, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But for the Pit part, if you were going to see any artist, I prefer to get there between 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. People start lining up maybe weeks before a show. I think that's the most insane thing to do. I understand if it's a day or 2, not even 2, maybe a day, but I can't even say that because I never spend a day out. But people stay there. There's porta potties there. They get Uber Eats, whatever. I don't know, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, because it doesn't make any sense to me because I got there at 9 a.m. Actually, I understand now because I'm thinking of the wrong Harry show. Because I saw Harry twice in Pitt. But for 2021, I got there at 9 a.m. And I swear to you, I was wrapped around the whole block, starting from the edge of the Forum all the way to the end where SoFi's at. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it was a lot. And I feel like people were just cutting because they were like putting their tets away, or like they were saving a spot for friends. And I'm just like, just give me this wristband. I don't know what else to do. Give me this wristband, please. And when I was stressed, and I kept telling my mom, like, dude, we need to go earlier. But, you know, my mom doesn't always listen. But that's okay, because this was our first situation with Pitt, and it actually went pretty well, I think, honestly. But there's a couple things we did do wrong. So my do's and don'ts for any Pitt, I guess, at the Forum, if it's all standing, don't do this. I would say, like, don't arrive too late. And when I mean late, I mean don't arrive at 9 a.m. I mean, if you want to just like chill in the back, if you want to at least like get in the back, not like all the way front, because it's too overwhelming for you. If it's too overwhelming for you, don't do that. I arrive an average time 9 a.m. That's a good time to go, because you're not like all the way in the back. You know what I mean? But don't also come dressed already in your outfit like I did. Made that mistake because it was my first Pit experience, my first actual concert out of like all my meet and greets that I've done in the past. And so it was just like in my outfit, which I didn't have a good outfit. I was wearing my One Direction tour shirt that I got from elementary school. So don't do what I did. Yeah, that was it. That's pretty much all my don'ts, because I feel like the first show is always a bad don't do this, don't do that. But like later on, I'm fine. I'm chilling now. Like if I go to Pitt, I understand it now. But that's just my little 2 don'ts that I would not want you guys to do that. My preference is to get there at an average time, whether you want to go early or not. Get your wristband, because last time When I saw him in 2021, I got 700 something. I think it was 711 actually. And I had already had my outfit on, which was a bad mistake because we didn't know what we were doing, obviously. I already had my outfit on, and then we stayed there. And we waited. We asked like the people, like we had parking, like preferred parking at the forum. And they're like, "Oh yeah, well, you can stay here, but like, what do you?" Yeah, so we left. Actually, I lied. We did leave. We went. Where did we go? We did leave. I think we got to go get food. Then we came back at an average time, like a bit early, like maybe 2. We just kind of like stood there, like I don't know. It was just a lot, like learning from the forum and all that. Obviously, my mom knew more than me because she's been to more concerts than I have ever been at that time. Let me just say that, at the time. So this is the part where we get brought in, and we get brought in called by our numbers on the wristbands, and we go in one by one, all 3 of us, and we gotta just stay out until like there's like multiple lines lined up to go in, and then they go in by each line, following the line. And since we were 700, it took us a while. I felt like we were out there for ages. At the time at the time, it felt like it went by fast just because I was getting so much adrenaline. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna see Harry Styles. Like, this is it. Like, I'm seeing Harry Styles after watching all those One Direction edits in the summer to seeing him live now as a 28-year-old man. That is crazy. But yeah, my life was being fulfilled at the moment because I walked in, and since we had one cherry, 2 watermelon, there was no division of it. So you can probably go on one side, you can go on the other side, you can go any side, pick your side, any side basically. And so I think the biggest mistake I did too was we got food inside, which we should have just not gotten food because that was just a waste of time. Like, waste of time getting a good stand, like where to stand at. So that was another thing as well. There's a lot of room down there. It doesn't look like there's a lot like to fit in and stuff, but there is a lot of room down there once you get down there. Speaking from being 700th in line. But I will say though that wasting time, I felt like we were getting food, wasting time, just walking around, and I was getting anxious. I was like, oh my god, I need to stand in line. But obviously I'm not gonna tell that from my mom and my sister, which they said it from the beginning. They don't want to be standing in front, whatever. I understand that. So time comes when the opening's gonna like start soon, and so at this time I'm sitting in the back with my mom and my sister, and I'm like looking around like anxiously, like waiting, like, okay, when am I gonna start getting up there, because a lot of people are coming in at this time, and I feel like I need to start scooting up more because I'm not gonna get a good view for like recording and all that. So I told my sister and my mom, okay, I'm gonna go stand up there, they can join me. Like, I didn't say it like that obviously, but I just said like, oh, I want to go up there, like, and they let me, whatever, right? My sister didn't want to come with me because I think she was too anxious to be in the pit at the time. My mom obviously stayed back because my mom's not going to be in the middle of the pit with me. But, yeah. So they stood in the back. I stood up right in the middle of, like, it's like a catwalk, the main square, whatever, catwalk. I stayed right in the middle of the square. Which, you guys, if it's like that, get a corner piece. A lot of people think that the catwalk he's not going to be in there 24/7. Harry Styles dances around that stage, and I should have just went, like, I wasn't thinking. I was just not thinking. But yeah, so at this time, Jenny Lewis is coming on stage, which it was a different opening act from what I expected her to be, but her songs are pretty good. I was listening to Head on the Water 24/7 after the concert. It was like my top 10 songs of the year, because it was the end of the year. I was listening to so much, but yeah, she brought out a puppy for Puppy in the Truck, which ended up being like a little skit for Harry being in the puppy suit. I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah. So Jenny Lewis went on, And then this is when the part, like, I started freaking out. Cause I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna see Harry Styles alone. I'm alone in this pit with a bunch of strangers next to me. Like, they were all nice, don't get me wrong, because I dropped my glasses. I was wearing, like, the heart glasses, and I dropped them, and some girl gave it to me, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. She goes, no problem. Like, they were all really sweet. I was just so nervous to see Harry. Like, it was insane, guys. You don't understand. But yeah, lights dim. Band comes on stage. I see Sarah and Mitch. And then he rises from the stage. And then he's there. And then he's on stage. And throughout the whole time, I'm just, wow. I'm in disbelief. Like, it was insane to see live and singing so well. And I see videos of how he was then versus how he was last year for Harry's house, and it's like, obviously there's a difference. He's grown, he's worked out, like, but obviously he's grown from that, and he's learned how to train his voice from dancing all the time. So, like, as for that being my first, like, big concert was kind of insane. But yeah, I want to say, like, for that being my first concert, I'm so thankful and grateful to see him live, because it really put in perspective of how artists should really put on a show. If you're paying that much to go see a concert, you better put on a performance for me. You better be standing in my nosebleeds with me, because you just... There's so many story times. I can't wait to tell you guys. But yeah, I was just just seeing Harry live at the Forum, November 17th on 2021. It was just the start of all my concerts. So it really just started a beginning and really put high expectations for others. So with that being that, I'm going to end this, and I we'll talk more about my concert story times in a later video. Hopefully you guys like this one. If you're not a big fan of Harry Styles, I am so very sorry for ranting about him in my first episode. I swear there will be more and more videos. I swear there will be more episodes and videos of me talking about other artists that you may like. So comment down below if you know that I went to a concert and you want to hear the story time, because I will do it. And I hope you guys stay tuned for more. I will see you guys in a later episode. Next episode, I believe I am talking about Louis Tomlinson, which is also a fellow One Direction member, and the story time of that. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you for listening this far. If you have, I appreciate you all. Make sure you're following, and make sure you turn the post notice on, because it's a really big important thing. And yeah, love you guys. Bye.